True story. When I heard that Little Did I Know was now being sponsored by Einstein Pros, I was probably a bit more enthusiastic than most people would be. I've been a fan of Einstein since before I got into science. He's even had a place on the bumper of my car for the past 12 years. Naturally, the question came to me, what could be some things about Einstein that we didn't know? Well, the first one is, he's quite a social media influencer.
I'm Benjamin Cohen. I work with the Albert Einstein estate. I manage the official social media accounts for Albert Einstein. For a dead celebrity, he's actually pretty active on social media. He has more Facebook fans than Tom Hanks does.
Benjamin wrote a book that'll come out this July that outlines the inventions that the seeds of which were planted in the mind of Einstein. And one of them, you'd literally be lost without.
GPS, right? So we all drive around, we all have GPS in our car. And the whole basis for GPS, the reason it works, is because of the general theory of relativity.
With you and the planet and the satellite and the universe in constant motion, if not for Einstein, we'd have a really hard time shopping or eating for that matter.
Every time you get an Amazon delivery or a pizza delivery to your house, the driver is using GPS to get to your house.
And if not for Einstein, you may not even be in love.
Even dating apps. People have these dating apps. Who's near me right now? And that uses GPS.
When you go to the grocery store or use your TV remote, you're taking advantage of something that Einstein actually won the Nobel Prize for.
That's what Einstein won the Nobel Prize for. It was something called the photoelectric effect. And that's basically, it's turning light beams into electricity and turning them into power.
Hidden inside what he said is another thing that most people don't realize about Einstein.
Einstein did not win the Nobel Prize for general relativity, his greatest scientific contribution. But Einstein was more than a scientist. He was a musician, a theologian, and a philanthropist with a caring heart.
He created, in the late 1930s, an organization called the International Rescue Committee to save all of these fellow German Jews, helping them escape Nazi Germany in the late 1930s. The International Rescue Committee is still around. It's one of the largest refugee organizations, aid organizations in the world.
They're still active to this day, helping Ukrainian refugees.
I interviewed for my book a Ukrainian refugee who was telling me, who was saved by this organization. And she was telling me she has, it was all because of Einstein that she was able to escape because this organization exists.
And finally, this one's a little weird, even a little gross.
The day Einstein died, the doctor performing the autopsy cut out the brain and stole the brain. And for decades, this physician kept the brain in like Tupperware containers in his basement.
But they didn't just stay in his basement.
The doctor was cutting up pieces and mailing pieces, just like FedEx. He would stick a little piece in a FedEx envelope and send it to a scientist at this university and that university. And so there's like hundreds of little pieces of Einstein's brain in different laboratories.
Einstein literally changed the way we see the universe, and his impact lives on in people like me and you every day.
Einstein is such an inspiration and a muse to so many people across disciplines, artists, scientists, anything.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm amateur cosmologist Scott Elness.